The morning sun streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Alexander Grant's penthouse, casting a golden glow on the marble floors that gleamed like mirrors. The penthouse was a palace in the sky, every inch spoke of unimaginable wealth. Designer furniture, rare paintings, chandeliers worth more than most houses, it was a place where every surface whispered untouchable luxury. Alexander Grant, a man in his late 30s, was one of the country's youngest billionaires. His empire stretched across finance, tech, and real estate. To the world, he was ruthless, decisive, and completely in control. To those who worked for him, he was an intimidating figure who spoke little and tolerated nothing less than perfection. Maria, the maid, had been working in his home for nearly a year. She was in her early 40s, with a warm but tired face. Her hands were rough from years of scrubbing floors, her back ached from carrying laundry baskets up and down stairs, but she always wore a small smile, even when exhaustion threatened to take it away. She had never been late, never complained, never stolen so much as a sugar cube. But that morning, something happened that would change both her life and Alexander's forever. Alexander had returned unexpectedly from a business meeting earlier than planned. He stepped into the kitchen, his polished Italian shoes clicking softly against the tiles. And there, standing in front of his open refrigerator, was Maria. She didn't notice him at first, her back was turned, and her hands hovered over a plate of leftover pasta from the night before. His voice was sharp, slicing through the silence. "What do you think you're doing?" Maria froze. The sound of the fridge hum filled the air as she slowly turned around. Her eyes widened when she saw him, and she stepped back as if caught committing a crime. "Sir. You're going through my fridge without permission?" His tone was icy, his jaw tight. "I don't pay you to eat my food." Maria swallowed hard, her fingers trembling as she tried to speak. "Sir, I wasn't." "I don't want excuses," Alexander snapped, his voice echoing off the marble. "Pack your things. You're fired." It happened so quickly, she didn't even have time to explain. Her eyes glistened, but she bit back the tears. She had no choice but to leave quietly. As she walked past him with her head down, carrying her worn-out handbag, Alexander didn't notice the small, crumpled piece of paper fall from her pocket onto the floor. He didn't bother picking it up, his assistant could clean it later. Maria left the penthouse without another word, the heavy security door closing behind her like the final note of a cold, sharp symphony. For the rest of the day, Alexander brushed off the incident. In his mind, people who broke trust, no matter how small the offense, didn't deserve a second chance. He told himself that if she had really needed something, she could have asked. But a small, unshakable discomfort began to creep in. Every time he walked past the fridge, he thought of her face, that look of fear and desperation that didn't seem like guilt. Late that night, after a long video conference, he went to the kitchen for a glass of water. That's when he saw it, the crumpled paper still lying near the counter where Maria had stood. Something made him pick it up. It was a grocery store receipt, but not just any receipt, it listed baby formula, diapers, and a small pack of bread rolls. Next to the total, a scrawled note read, "Only enough for this week, must find more work." Alexander stared at it for a long time, his heartbeat slowing as a strange heaviness settled in his chest. Baby formula? Diapers? Maria had never mentioned having a child. He suddenly remembered the deep lines of fatigue on her face, the way she sometimes pressed her hand to her stomach as though calming herself. And he realized, he hadn't even given her a chance to explain. The thought haunted him through the night. Sleep didn't come easily, and when it did, it brought restless dreams. He saw Maria standing in the cold outside his building, holding a baby he had never seen before, her eyes silently pleading with him. By morning, Alexander was unsettled enough to pick up his phone. He called his assistant. "Find Maria. Today. I don't care how. I need to speak to her." The search began, but it wasn't easy. Maria had no social media, no listed phone number, and she rented a small room in a crowded neighborhood. Hours later, his driver finally tracked down someone who knew her, a neighbor who said she hadn't seen Maria since yesterday. She'd left with a child in her arms and a heavy bag slung over her shoulder. Alexander felt an unfamiliar tightness in his chest. Something told him this wasn't just about a fridge, it was about something far bigger, something that would force him to question the man he'd become. And as he climbed into his sleek black car to find her himself, he didn't yet know that the truth would shatter every cold assumption he had about her life.